Dude, that fucking... The two standouts there by far, unquestionably, were the fucking Nordic nationalists. Yeah, that was some cringe shit.
Next one's going to be from Magical Swamp Wizard. And you are... Go.
Hello?
Yo.
Okay.
Which question? I put a lot up there.
Yeah, pick a couple.
Which one?
They're your questions. Pick a couple.
I lost this.
Wait, you don't remember your questions?
No, I found that. I found it. Do you support the communist way of looking? And if so, how can you compare that to Nazism, where the communists, the communists had a large impact on the people of the world in a negative way? The left has done way more harm than the right. How can you support a way of life where the many are forced to suffer for the needs of the few? Immigrants, refugees, foreigners come into a certain country cost money before the country can even afford to pay for their own citizens.
Do you have like an actual question, or did you just want to read out like the Black Book of Communism? What I'm asking, how can you support communism in spite of the fact that it supplements the individual in favor of a collectivist ideology that has murdered billions? Like, okay, what's your actual question?
Do you support refugees? Do you support immigration?
Well, I mean, I'm like a full internationalist type, so yeah, fuck borders, yeah. I mean, I support immigration sensibly right now, because right now, the way the world is structured couldn't really handle America just lowering its borders. That would be incredibly destructive. But like, as a concept, yeah, absolutely. I want people to be able to live free lives, free to move wherever they like, to experience the fruits of life in whatever country or geographic region they choose.
Even if it harms others?
I don't think in an ideal world that would harm others.
But we're not in an ideal world. We're on this
Which is why I just said I would want it to be sensibly introduced until we could develop a political system that would accommodate those goals.
Yeah, but right now, shit's not going to happen like that. It's gonna take...
Do you have like a specific yes, no, or like a specific juxtaposition? Because this is like a super complicated topic, and it goes a little bit beyond how can you support immigration when it hurts people? Like, I don't know, helps people too.
What I'm saying is that refugees come into the United States, to come into Canada, and in my country, in Norway, we're letting in too many fucking people. And it's hurting our people more than it's doing good.
Usually when people say that we let in too many people, they don't really have like data to back that up. They just kind of don't like brown people.
What do you mean?
Here in America, I have not seen any data to indicate that the number of refugees we take in any way, shape, or form hurts our domestic population.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, they commit like lower per capita crime rates. Like, yeah, how?
First of all, I don't mean to bash the Muslims of this chat, but a majority of them are Muslim. You know, a lot of them come in.
No.
We're giving you a place to fucking live. You better be fucking thankful. As much as I fucking hate immigration.
This is kind of my problem with having these conversations with people like you. You're just like really like feelings based. Like, we give you everything and you take from us and you complain. Like what do you want? Like, can we talk like data? Like, in what way do refugees coming into like America hurt us? I asked you and you haven't given me anything. These people usually are done because we feel we have a moral obligation to help people living with less fortunate circumstances abroad. Now, yes. I am not a nationalist. I think that a human being born...
Well, I am.
I know. I think a human being born in Syria is worth as much as a human being born in America. That's sort of an axiomatic principle of mine. I think that basing the value of a human life off the country they're born in is dumb fuck. Now, if you go into more contentious forms of immigration, like the Browns, minor and relatively segmented economic harm that is caused to certain portions of the population, which could then be compensated for by the broader economic benefit that these people bring to the country. But even if... No. So if you want to argue on an economic basis the foundations of immigration and how it affects America, that's not a conversation you're going to win, buddy. If you want to talk about like cultural impact, because that's what you people like to focus on.
Cultural impact.
Right, I know, but that's what you should focus on, because the scary brown people, because the economic argument you can't really win. The total economic benefit of bringing in immigrants outweighs any comparatively small harm done to blue-collar work. How are you going to say that a
foreign Syrian citizen has more worth than an American citizen in American society?
I never said more worth. I said equal worth. I think a human being born in Syria is worth as much as a human being born in America.
Yes, but how are they equal?
What the fuck? Because they're both humans. Why would I?
Yes, they are humans, but an American citizen should come first before some foreign invader.
Foreign invader. Dude, do you have like any actual arguments, or do you just want to like cry and write out your feelings in crayon?
No, I'm not crying. Do you hear me crying?
I mean, you're crying with your words, my friend. I'm very emotionally in tune with how you feel right now. You're sobbing right now. Foreign invader. The brown people. Dude, listen, if you have a problem with like brown people in the country, like why not just say, I don't like brown people. I think they're scary.
Like brown people.
Okay, yeah, so there you go. That is your feeling. It doesn't really substantiate itself within my worldview. I'm sorry, I like facts over feelings. If we want to talk about the harm these people do, then we can talk about like very specific policy positions, or we can talk about broader moralistic arguments about the extent to which we should sort of engage in internationalism and engage in altruism towards other people. But your argument that like, oh, well, we're American, we should care about America. I'm sorry, these hold no water to me.
Okay.
Of course, it wouldn't to a leftist.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Your attempt to shame me for caring about people, like as a concept, has fallen flat, my friend. But hey, don't worry. Listen, as the scary brown people come in, statistically speaking, your economic engagement is going to rise. So hey, you know, at least you're benefiting from the thing you hate. Fucking Nordic nationalist. Yeah, that was some cringe shit. But also that lady with the fucking poppy drama. Holy shit.
Okay, so I had a quick question before I ask this next question.
Kill me.
Are there any topics that you don't want to get into, like recent drama, for example?
I love drama.
You're in luck, because Squishy.
Is that a guinea pig?
Has a question.
Oh, am I unmuted now? Oh,
You're
shit. Yeah. Hi, Vaush. I used to watch you a lot.
Guinea pig noise. Oh, howdy.
I was wondering, what compelled you to send dick pics to women and sexually harass them, and how do you plan to correct the behavior and be an example for rehabilitation of predatory men in the future?
Damn. I don't think I sent any dick pics to anyone. Who did I send dick pics to?
Really? So
Yeah.
you weren't under the name Irish Laddie at one point?
No, I totally was. I don't believe I sent dick pics to anyone. Could you provide a picture of my penis?
No.
I
I
remember sending a picture of my knee, and I sent a picture of my forehead. I don't believe I sent any dick pictures.
So you're saying that there was no sexual harassment that took place?
Oh, no, there absolutely was. I was definitely pretty creepy and pushy with that person, unquestionably. It was a shitty thing to do.
So then how do you plan to be an example for predatory men in the future of things not to do?
That's an incredibly like a presumptive thing of me to say. Why would I ever pose myself as like the model of rehabilitation? I would never like presumptuously say, ah, yes, everyone now learn from my improvement. I would only seek to do good in the world, to see people's perceptions of me change with the information available to them, and to hopefully indicate to people that while I have made mistakes, as have we all, I have continued to, since that point, do my best to make the world a better place. And
oh, wait a minute. Did you address this at some point in a video? Because I don't remember you ever addressing the sexual harassment.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I made a video on it, and it's come up quite a bit. I mean, people love to circulate this drama about me because, I mean, it was aired in a very public forum on Destiny's stream. But yeah, I've absolutely discussed this. I don't, like, hide any of this at all.
What do you mean? Why?
Why would I hide it? That would be kind of shitty of me, right? If I did something bad.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't like it. I thought you were trying to hide it. I read that.
Well, don't get me wrong. I don't like it, but no, I wouldn't hide it. I mean, that'd be kind of shitty and exploitative of me if I did bad things and then like banned people who mentioned it.
How did you handle it with the woman that was a victim?
Well, that person, and this is where things get a little bit dicey. My behavior was unquestionably bad. Unfortunately, I think that the person who was a victim of my harassment is a bad faith actor. I think that they are...
oh, that sounds like blaming the victim. Come on, don't be such a shitbag about that. You were doing so well in the first half of this. Vaush. What happened?
Thank you. So anyway, because I'm not an idiot, I recognize that it's possible there is enough nuance in the world to simultaneously say I did a bad thing to a person, but then also say that person is being a dick and is also lying about it. I don't know, like maybe you weren't around for like the big...
What were they lying about?
Well, we can get into that if you'd like. Your automatic presumption that any criticism of the person who I harassed is an indication of me being like disingenuous indicates that there's not really much of a point in trying to convince you.
What automatic presumption did I make? I just asked you a question.
You just said, come on, you were doing so well. That sounds victim blaming. That's a presumption.
You're not saying in some way saying that the person was a bad faith actor and is making shit up doesn't sound like victim blaming to you?
Not particularly. That is a thing that can happen. I recognize there is enough nuance in the world to know that it is simultaneously possible for somebody to do a bad thing to another person, and then for the victim of that act to also themselves be a bad person. Not only is that like nuanced, I don't even think that's...
being a bad person is irrelevant.
Not really.
To them being a victim. No. Then you're saying that people who are bad, then them being a victim is sort of is caused by them being bad.
No, only that them being a bad person means that they can be dishonest.
That it's an excuse.
No.
But the thing is,
do you acknowledge that it is possible to do a bad thing to a person, but for the person to also do bad things and dishonestly represent what took place? There's only one answer to this.
I think that's irrelevant to you doing a bad thing.
Okay. Sure, I agree, which is why at no point have I said that my harassment is any less of a problem because of their behavior. The only reason I mentioned their behavior is because you specifically asked about them. At no point did I use that to minimize the harassment allegations. If you want to talk about them specifically, they have lied quite a bit online about...
I don't care about that. I asked about how you tried to rectify the situation.
I already answered that.
I don't care about them having...
Then why'd you ask about them?
What? That was the question.
Wait, I'm sorry. Am I misremembering? I'm pretty sure I specifically...
What were they lying about?
I'm pretty sure I specifically remember you asking directly about my perception of that person.
I remember.
I'm pretty sure I remember that. What was the exact
wording of the question? Because I asked...
I don't know. Why don't you keep track of what you asked?
Maybe I worded it differently. Maybe I worded it differently, but the intended question was, how did you go about rectifying...
I have made
and instead
a meaningful...
you brought up that person lied too. I don't know how that's relevant.
It is perfectly relevant because the extent to which I can meaningfully rectify a situation with a person depends on how good in faith they are willing to address that. So I will answer then in a way that is less likely to trigger you. I have tried to apologize to the person who I harassed. I have tried to meaningfully apologize. I have reached out to them multiple times. They do not seem interested in hearing my apology, nor do they seem interested meaningfully in reaching any sort of accord. Not that they are obligated to. It is not necessary for a victim of harassment to forgive or even acknowledge the person who committed it. For you to say I went into this by accusing them is, I think, pretty misleading.
I'm talking about that you went into
Are you having a fun
conversation.
Time? Went into their conversation?
You going, when you entered into a conversation.
You have no idea how I spoke to them. Why would you assume?
That's what I'm asking. What the fuck?
You didn't ask. You said you came into this in a bad way. I did ask.
I'm saying it sounds like you came into it in a bad way with how you're describing the victim.
All right.
I'm saying it sounds like you went into it in a bad way.
You didn't ask. You came into it with a prescriptive statement. Are you okay? Are you feeling well?
I think that's enough. We're kind of getting off topic. It's kind of disappointing it happened to them that way. I'm sorry, Vaush.
I'm fine. God. You know, it really, really sucks because I would love one day to have like a good faith conversation on that, you know? Like, hey, here are some valid questions, you know? Like, hey, Vaush, you know, you claim to be in favor of blah, blah, blah. You've done some dicey shit in your past. Like, how do you reconcile these things? And I could be like, oh, well, okay, here's the context and here's how I feel and but I can't because everyone who wants to talk about it in bad faith. It's fucking wild.
Vaush.